watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really want to talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks, telling you you're wrong, and so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am John, and just like Carolyn, I am back with my loyal sidekick because this week I'm podcasting with Andy once again. We are talking Survivor 44, Episode 12. Andy, it's the next to last episode before we crown Queen Carolyn. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'll say a lot of people tried to get me to turn on you this week, but I knew it was too soon. So just keep cooling my jets on that one.
Yeah, the key is to just wait as long as possible until you may not any longer have a chance to do so.
Whatever it takes to make the show better.
Okay, and you know what? It's not a bad decision given the co-host that we've had this season.
I mean, in that sense, I think I was talking about Survivor, but
No,
it can be vague.
I was just trying to get in a quick burn there.
Thank you to everybody who stepped in when I was busy doing things that wasn't this. But Daddy's back.
Yeah.
That was horrifying. Just horrifying.
That was a little gross.
That might have been more cringe than Danny and his endless De Niro impression.
I mean, even the first few seconds of that were pretty bad. And the fact that he just kept going and Jeff just let it happen. I mean, to his credit, you have to let that happen.
You have to. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't interfere.
No.
The players play. So if I was going to go with my cringe rankings, it would be number 1, Danny's just doing that forever.
Yes.
2, me saying Daddy's back.
Yes.
3, me using the slang term cringe. That's the order
Okay.
we're going with.
I mean, pretty solid rankings, I think. All right. Speaking of rankings, nope, that doesn't work. How'd we like this episode?
Everything's on fire. It's firing on all cylinders. Everything is great. It's just hit after hit after hit, and it's generally all because of one reason.
Yeah. And I'm sure just like last week, we will spend most of the episode talking about that one reason because she's amazing. But
just when you think there's no new, like it can't get any better, it does.
She keeps adding wrinkles to her game, and I love it. It's like watching a player develop. You know, they hit that, like, they're about to get that all NBA so they can get that second Supermax contract. You know, this is resonating with all the Survivor fans that don't watch basketball. But yeah, it's just, the more Carolyn we get, the more wrinkles we see. Not literal wrinkles, but sometimes also literal wrinkles. You know, she has not had a modern skincare routine. Anyway, Carolyn has been fantastic. She made this episode great. And there was also a supporting cast that played well off of her, which is key. I mean, you know, you need your role players. And she's surrounded by some good role players in this episode.
That's right. No, everybody is helping contribute to the win, but Carolyn is Jimmy. And that's how it is. And this actually gets back to like a theory that I was batting around a lot last year. You might not know because you rarely showed up, and I kind of understand that decision. Yes. At certain points last year, not everybody, certain types on the internet were talking about like the remarkable balance in the edit and what a great thing that was. And my thought at the time was, is it though? Is it as a result that they have just this, and this is probably early. I don't think anybody at this stage of the season was saying that, but yeah, that they're focusing so much on everybody. Is that because there isn't somebody? And this season, I think, answers my question on that, at least when it comes to my preferences. I don't need balance, but it's good to get contributions up and down the roster. But I'm here for stars.
Yes.
And this season has been a starring vehicle from Jump Street, from the very first scene in which they break the fourth wall to introduce us to this amazing character that they found. She doesn't even know how to give it a confessional. That's how this season started, and every part along it, there's been other, very, interesting players. Still, there's a strong co-star. There's a BAM to Carolyn's Jimmy Butler, and that would be Jam Jam. But it's still, it's the Carolyn show, and it's so good for it. It's so much better when you can, there's a star for, everything to kind of revolve around.
I love you referencing my beloved Heat. But I'm with you. When you got a star, just feed them. Let them eat. I mean, and that's what the show is doing. We're letting Carolyn chew the scenery. You're putting her front and center. And yes, you are letting some other people get their shots in, which is great. I'm very happy for those people. But yes, this is when it gets to crunch time, pass the rock to Carolyn, put it in her hands. And that's what they've been doing. And the show has been fantastic for it. It's genuinely enjoyable when she's on my TV screen. And that's why I tune into this fucking show. So this season, especially coming after last, has really just renewed my faith in what this show can do.
Yeah, and this episode in particular, they freaked us out a bit, maybe. It was built around the fact that the star might leave. And my question is, how worried were you that would happen as you're watching?
I think mostly I wasn't. I did have the thought that when we got to Tribal, because I was like, man, they did do enough. Because the thing is, a lot of times you'll have a visibility spike before you're going to go home, right? There's no such, you can't measure that for Carolyn. Carolyn is constantly visible. So you wouldn't notice the spike, right? But I did have the thought, though, that it is possible they're going to target her. And then I was like, wait a minute, though. They wouldn't let Carolyn. She's got too much plot armor to go at 6, right? So it just didn't track. I was like, I don't feel like it's going to happen here. So then I went and I was like, I honestly went like those crazy Survivor conspiracy theorists that were all over Twitter. And I was like, no, I think what happened is Carolyn actually found the idol. They didn't show it to us. She's going to play it at Tribal Council, and then they're going to show us a flashback to her getting it. No, that didn't happen at all. They just didn't vote for Carolyn.
Yeah. No, for a lot of the time, I'm like, no, it's not her. The story doesn't end here. But there's the nagging voice that if you have a Carolyn, how much less are you going to feature her if she doesn't win or make the final? I feel like you're still going to want to use what you can do. Now, maybe, again, not to this degree, but it's like if this season ended up being that Lauren won, I don't know if it would have been better if they gave Lauren more of the time to Carolyn. So it's that was my nagging thing. It's kind of this whole thing is how different would a Carolyn winner's edit be from just a Carolyn, character edit, right? Because she's all those things. I mean, we don't know that she's a winner, but she's totally winning.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. That was well, if I'm already certain that she's winning, and again, reminder for anybody, I don't know. Okay. I'm not spoiled in anything. It's just my heart is telling me what I want, and I'm speaking it into existence, even though, of course, this has already happened. But yeah, so if she's winning, then she can't go home tonight. But as the episode kept going, it really felt like that's what Jam Jam was going to do. And when it first brought up, it's no, things will turn around. That's what we're talking about now. That's not what we're going to be talking about later. And in fact, when my wife asked, she's like, okay, well, who's going home? I'm like, you know what? It's going to be Jam Jam. I could just see it blowing up in his face. But as we're going to Tribal Council, there was no blowing up. And then when they're at Tribal Council, I'm like, but how does she wriggle her way out of this one? It felt like everything was going there. And as Tribal Council goes on, it definitely feels like that's what Jam Jam is talking about. It certainly feels like that's what Carolyn thinks Jam Jam's talking about, with her just amazing reactions. Just amazing. So that I was a little worried, but the whole time, but no, I just really, she's not beating Jamie in this moment. I don't buy it, but maybe that's where I was kind of at.
But here's the thing about the amazing Carolyn reactions is that's just her face. Maybe she's not even reacting all that wildly towards things. That's just how Carolyn looks about anything. You ask her if she wants breakfast, and that's the face that she makes. Like, that's just how she is. So genuinely, did she think that maybe she was getting targeted? Was she actually paranoid? Who knows? Because that's just how she looks, which is great. Like,
I feel like the what the fuck, though, that was something. When she mouthed that out. And although I can't remember the order, that was pre-vote, right? Not after? Or was it after?
And then, I think it was it was after. It was after. I'm almost positive on this. But also, she was getting a little fiery at tribal council last week too. Like, she's just, she is that hard on her sleeve type player. And then, her face just does fun things. Like, it's good TV to watch Carolyn's reactions.
But then she's like, is this my, like, farewell speech? Like, she puts that out there, when Jeff is saying this and the reaction, all that. I'm like, no. So there was just, like, again, I mostly felt like, no, we were good. But yeah, there was a little bit of panic, like when your team is up in the series 3-1, but then they lose game 5, and you're like, it's fine. We're not going to lose 3, but what if though? Like, that's kind of where I was at. And man, at Tribal Council, like, I don't know if I'll be able to pick my favorite Carolyn moment from this season. Frankly, this might not even be it for this episode, because there's another one that we can talk about later.
And we
will not be able to get off this podcast until we do. But at Tribal Council, when she's like explaining herself to Jeff about how, yes, she's an emotional player and that's fine. She can still play this game with emotions. Man, I felt that. Like, like as someone who... Some of my favorite players are either, like game bots or like, sociopath, mean people. Like, it's again, not the type, but I was like, damn it, yes. Because for one, emotion is more entertaining. And for two, I'll say, like, growing up as a young man, I fell into the trap that a lot of dudes do. That, like, emotional content, like when it comes to movies or stories, those are lesser than like the serious stuff, right? And that's bullshit. That's all bullshit. So, like, hearing her say that like her being like her emotions and, feeling them and being in that moment does not make her weaker, does not make her less, does not make her unable to play the game. It's just like reason 911 why I love this player.
She's so great. And she was absolutely right in that moment. Because I thought the same thing. It's like, not only is she completely correct, but she's also making this case to the jury who is sitting right there, right? Like, they're already getting this preview of her at Final Tribal Council. And she's like, hey, by the way, just so you know, like, you might think I've been a very emotional player and erratic or whatever that you're choosing to put onto this game. I'm just letting you know I'm actually playing Survivor. And I love it. I mean, like, between last week and this week, it's like she's already laid all the groundwork that she needs for a Final Tribal Council. Like, she won't have to do much talking once she gets there to change hearts and minds on that jury.
And she did it at camp too. But just like, what an amazing, like, this is such a fantastic message. Basically, my emotions aren't what make me weak. They're what make me strong. That's fucking inspirational. Okay, like, that's why there's so many dimensions to her, because later we're going to laugh about her. She is hilarious. She is a ridiculous person, but she owns it, and she's also playing well, and it's all great. I love it. And again, I was worried, but I wasn't worried, but I was a little worried.
Right. I mean, I absolutely would have been like screaming expletives if she really did go home, though. Like,
I don't know what I would have done. I
would have been
so
genuinely
crushing.
Hurt by this show.
I don't know if you would have to go back to early seasons when, like, I would really get, like, invested in the people. Like, after a while, that kind of, the game beat that out of me, right? And the game is the game, and don't get too attached. And look, maybe she doesn't win next week, but it's like, at least I got another week. But if she went home tonight, I'd be like, fuck, do I even watch? And I like other people that are still in the game.
That's the thing, is like, if she had gone home, like, my rooting interest would just shift to Jam Jam. Mm-hmm. But still, I'd be so pissed because, again, we were denied the longest episode of the season. Like, Carolyn could have been featured in this episode, and we'd be denied that. It's going to be a 3-hour block. that's 3 more hours of Carolyn that I could have had, and it would have been denied to me, and I would have been just so pissed in that moment.
Fuck, I mean, I know, like, that's how it's been since the dawn of Survivor, but you just now reminded me that next week we have 3 hours to watch.
Oh, yes.
That hurt a bit.
Yep.
It's so weird. We are obviously fans of the show. Look at what we're doing right now. Yet every time the show threatens to give us more of it, we're always like, ugh.
Spoiler alert for those who haven't heard. Next season, 90-minute episodes. Which
yeah, my wife heard about it last
for.
week, and she also is complaining about it. It's like, that's so much. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel too.
Oh, it's going to be even greater when, like, of the extra 30 minutes they tack on, like 20 are commercials. Be great. Just 10 more minutes of content.
Yeah. I mean, at least I start late, so I'll fast forward, but usually in the finales, like the 3-hour ones, I catch up, and that's the worst. Then I suddenly have to go watch those commercials.
Oof, devastating.
Yeah.
What do they even advertise? Like pelts?
I mean, a lot of it'll be similar stuff, but we have laws that dictate some needs to be local.
So pelts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what's great about the Super Bowl, because we'll get like a smattering of like the, high paid commercials that you get selling, advertising, funny money and whatever they are any given year. And then like right next to it, like a commercial that somebody spent millions for the time and then millions more to create the ad. And they hired some super famous. It'll like literally be like a local like air conditioner. That right there, Super Bowl Sunday. That's a little thing about Canada. Hey, so putting aside what we want, which is Carolyn to succeed in all things, including life. Another reason I had a little worried is like, maybe is this the right thing for Jam Jam to do? What did you think it would have been the right thing for Jam Jam to vote Carolyn out?
I mean, when he was laying out his reasons, and they were potentially at that time duping other people into thinking they were going to take out Carolyn, but the reasons were legit. I mean, they were certainly like, if you presented that case, I'd be like, you're not wrong. I mean, please don't do it, but you're not wrong. And yeah, I mean, even in confessionals, he was saying some of those things. I'm sure probably egged on by production to do so because they have to have a second potential target. But still, he was saying those things.
Yeah, I actually think it's genuine for him. Like, he's real, because I think her playing that idol last episode, I was going to say last week, it's like probably yesterday. Really, I think actually when he first starts talking about it, it literally might have been that night. I think that really woke him up, that like, she's not just his fun little friend. She has more going on, and he's seeing it. And now he sees what we see. And what we've seen for weeks now, because we're amazing that way, and we're watching a television show, and he's living a life.
Right.
No, man, there's more to Carolyn. She's not a joke, and then thus he's now seeing that probably she has everything that he thought he had as a case plus. So I do think this was a genuine, difficult decision for him, and that's why I was like, no, but I mean, maybe, but no, don't do it. That said, I do think that Carson isn't wrong. That this turn might be too soon, because then you just throw away like some numbers advantages. Although that's more of a good argument for Carson, and we'll get that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see the argument that yes, Jam Jam, you should wait a week, and like, is Carolyn really going to win a challenge? Like, come on, she couldn't even stay attached to the ball this week, either of them. So it's like you'll have your chance. But by the same token, since I'm convinced Carolyn is going to win this season, yeah, he probably should have done it, because he probably misses his chance. I don't think he ever gets a chance to vote Carolyn out.
Right. And I mean, I think not just Jam Jam realized that like Carolyn has been a player this whole time. I think the rest of the group, including Carson, realized that. And that's what made it somewhat believable that Jam Jam would be like, not such a bad idea to take her out, because it's not only that he sees, oh shit, she's an actual player. The fact that other people see it then makes her more of a threat to him winning. And so, yeah, I get it. There's so few players left. You could maybe get someone from those other three to like be your substitute Carolyn and align with you and Carson. It's certainly possible, I don't think any of them have a threat level that would approach Carolyn. I guess Heidi would be the next closest, and I don't think it's that close.
Well, Carson would be the next one.
I'm saying that's aside from him and
those
Carson.
two, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just thinking from Jam Jam's perspective. And that's the thing, like when he's talking to Lauren and Jamie about it, whether, he's telling his true motivations or, the plan that he and Carson came up with. I think in Jamie and Lauren's mind, yes, I agree. They're seeing that Carolyn's more of a threat, but I think they still view Carson as a bigger threat. They were just going along with, the move, right? If they need somebody to vote for somebody that's not them, so yeah, okay, Carolyn. But I think they probably preferred Carson. So that's another reason why for Carson, not voting for Carolyn this week was the absolute right move. To the point where I believe that Jam Jam's head was ready to vote out Carolyn. Maybe not his heart. I don't think Carson was going for it. I think Carson probably is the one that nicks this week. And yeah, Jam Jam wasn't going to do it alone because that would be a tie anyway, especially since, Carolyn put the work to maybe get Heidi on their side. But if you're Carson, okay, cool. Let's remove this Carolyn threat. Who's the next threat at 5? So like for Carson, he absolutely can't take out Carolyn just yet. For Jam Jam, though, he probably could have. He could have just gone a 3 with, Lauren and Jamie. And I like that 3 for Jam Jam in a winning the games type scenario. I like that very much. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think Carson made the right move here by not voting for Carolyn?
Yeah. I mean, this was the way to go, right? Like she's the best other target for him to put votes onto. Right? Like if we're getting down to final 5 and he's trying to take the heat off himself, she's just identified herself as a player. He can make the case like, oh, no, we have to take out Carolyn, assuming that he doesn't win immunity, which is a possibility. I mean, the immunity challenge this week was honestly a coin flip.
I thought Lauren would win, mostly because she'd already won a balanced one. But yeah, it could have gone.
I mean, you get a strong breeze and it knocks your ball over.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. It's not a whole, there's sure some skill involved, but luck is going to carry the day there. So yeah, it's entirely possible he could win immunity, but if he doesn't, it's nice to have Carolyn around so that he can be like, hey, how about we all target her? Huh? Remember the idol thing? But yeah, he needed her because I think it's very clear that the other people respect him, which is wild because he is a youth. He is like 20. But yes, this was the right move. And I think he might believe he could still beat Carolyn. And so I think it did wake him up that she's a better player than he expected. But also, I think he believes he can still go up against her in a final 3 and win.
I think I believe that he could go up against her in a final 3 and win. Like, I don't think it would be a done deal. But I think he has a chance. I think he's the only person who has a chance against Carolyn in the final 3. And it's weird to say that because one of my, ongoing tenets is that nobody's going to vote. A group of adults are not going to vote for a child, but it doesn't seem to be the way. When people were saying that if he gets to the end, Carson's going to win, everybody's like, yeah. Danny said his clone would vote for him, right? Whereas you never get that with the other teenagers, right? You get it from people watching the show and thinking that that's so-and-so is a contender. And then a lot of times those people even or at least it's happened, they made the final 3 and nobody gave a shit about them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. Apparently, I think Carson is well-liked and respected. So I do think he has a legitimate chance to win. I just don't think he is.
I would actually kind of like it if he did make final tribal council and just didn't get a vote up against Carolyn because, as respected as he seems, it would be a good reminder that stop trying to have the fucking youth run the show. It would be that was the best one that you've had so far. And look, he got nothing at final tribal council. That would be great. Honestly, that would make Carolyn's victory even sweeter.
Yeah, no, I'd be in favor because I'm like you. I just don't need it for the show. I understand a bit. But you know what? Like 21 is still plenty young. I feel like young people will cheer for 21-year-olds and 22-year-olds. And to his credit, at least is not technically a teen. Although I don't know if his birthday fell before or after the filming of the show. But yeah, he's not of legal age in other areas. So we don't need teenagers. We don't. It's weird, man. Like there's full-grown people, and then you're throwing a teenager in there to live with them. It's other shows can be that. This one doesn't need to be that.
Right. They just. I can't imagine a scenario where I'm like, yeah, this 20-year-old has it all figured out, because there's just no 20-year-olds that generally do. Like it would be a wild aberration.
That's not what life is the way it's supposed to be. And again,
exactly,
you don't have to have it all figured out to win. And plenty of older winners have not known shit. But it's again, like when Sophie won, she was plenty young and she wasn't a teen. We don't need the teens on this show. Wait a year and they'll probably still be interesting and better people. Maybe, probably still good looking. Like, most people don't just suddenly, when the clock strikes, 1 year, they're worthless. And again, I feel like teenagers will still view like a 21-year-old as one of their own. Because I guess that would be a reason. This is a show with multi-generational appeal. But, I mean, I'm old enough that 21, 22 are still like babies to me.
Right.
Although shock as hell finding out that Franny was 23. That surprised all of us.
And see, she's a perfectly acceptable contestant. 23.
Yes. There you go. Kane's still in college. He's probably pretty young. That's fine, but all that said, I think Carson could win. I also no longer dislike Carson. I think, his, I viewed early, like his desire to team up with Jam Jam and Carolyn is kind of like a calculating move. And obviously I think there was calculation to it, but we've seen enough that he seems genuinely moved by his relationship with them and genuinely attuned to their weirdness. So, yeah, he's fine by me. This season will be a colossal heartbreak and failure if he wins. That's all.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, I probably just expected that his, relationship with Carolyn and Jam Jam was more about, I can exploit this type thing.
Yeah. Goat herding or whatever.
Right. It just... As the season's gone on, I was like, oh, my opinion of him has softened because I now realize, actually, he does seem to, genuinely work with these people. Like, he has conversations with them. He does, I think part of it, too, is that they value his opinions. And I think that probably helps because, again, he's 20. So,
yeah.
The fact that the weirdos were like, yeah, sure, 20-year-old, we'll accept you. We'll, take your advice. You're a smart kid. You can hang with us. I don't know that Danny was necessarily doing that. Danny might respect Carson, but I don't think Danny would have been like, oh, yeah, sure, Carson, tell me all your plans. He'd been like, hey,
no.
There, 20-year-old. Pat you on the head.
I don't know that there's anybody in this game that Danny would be like, hey, yeah, tell me your plans.
Exactly.
So at that point, the age part probably doesn't matter. No, if Carson is somebody who early on you did not see the appeal, you kind of wished he wasn't there, or at least, part of the team. But now, as we get into crunch time, we've recognized that he actually makes solid contributions to both the team winning and the overall presentation. Does that make him like the Kyle Lowry of this scenario?
I was actually going to say, are you about to call him the glue guy? Because that would be great. I mean, he has the attributes to be a glue guy.
Yeah. Now, he does not have certain attributes of Kyle Lowry. We will say that.
No. Very few men do.
For everyone, I don't care if you're not getting all the Miami Heat references that I've been putting in because they're not going to stop. I'm just going to keep peppering them. Fair warning, fair play.
And you know what? This is a freebie because we do have a lot of listeners who would be interested in such things. Just Google Kyle Lowry butt. There you go. And enjoy. You're welcome. That's what we were just referencing.
Yeah. So I think Carson made the right move in not flipping on Carolyn. Let's look at it from the other perspective, though. Should Carolyn have flipped on Carson?
No, I think staying loyal and emotional is what's going to get Carolyn her win. Like, she doesn't need to prove that she's a player by like cutting the throats of her allies. Whatever. I know that's a common thing for some people to show like, oh, I made a big move. I didn't need this ally to the end. I think that doesn't fit her game. And it also doesn't fit the case that she's likely to present to that final tribal. Like, it's not who she is. And it would be weird if she did that. So I think she can do more like the Jeremy thing, right? Just she can be a great player by also being a loyal and dependable ally. And I think that's her path. She's not some like, oh, I have no emotion and I'm just going to be a sociopath and cut your throat and, march to the victory against these goats. It's just not who she is.
But she does give that confessional where she says she knows she might have to do it. She made the promises to her son, but he's her baby, yep. Which again, just goddamn, everything she does is just so delightful. So that was great. And yeah, I agree. I agree that she might not have to, I think especially with what she said at Tribal Council later on, I think she could go to the end against Carson and Jam and win. But as I also said, I think Carson's the only person that could beat her. So if she does turn around and vote him out, that'd be fine. But this was not the week for it. And again, she told us why, and she was right. This was about gaining the numbers. If she gets rid of Carson this week, then she's for sure going home next week, barring, some way of preventing that from happening. Idol of some kind, whether it be a necklace or an idol. Whereas, you keep Carson around at least one more vote. And then if everybody wants to vote him out next time, let it. And I think that might be more. She doesn't necessarily need to lead the charge to vote out Carson next time, but she doesn't have to stop it either.
Well, that's the thing is I don't think, if his name floats, it doesn't have to come from her. Like his name will be on other people's minds. So, if it starts to circulate, she can be like, oh no, not Carson. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's the plan. Like, she didn't come up with it, but she can be like, hey, look, I'm one voice against three others. What am I going to do?
So we both agree Carson should not have voted for Carolyn. I think I'm a little like, I think maybe Jam should have, but there's also, again, I also don't think he could have. I genuinely believe Carson put a stop to that. We'll find out next week or we won't. I mean, next week, I imagine we'll probably find out one way or another, either in the episode or in exits, if we choose to read exits that don't belong to Carolyn. I'd read Jams. Absolutely.
Yes.
There was one other person who had a decision here. Obviously, Lauren and Jamie tried to vote for Carolyn. So there we don't have to worry about. Heidi could have made the move against Carolyn. Instead, she decides to vote with Carolyn and the rest of the Tikas. What do you think of that decision?
Yeah, I mean, Heidi had an idol, and I mean, she knew that at least there was discussion of the plan to vote out Jamie. So she could have used that idol and taken Carolyn out. But I think I even said this to Mike last week. Like, I don't see a scenario, or I didn't see a scenario where she was playing that idol for anyone other than herself. And also, I don't blame her. Like, she should have used it for herself. And honestly, she should have used it for herself this week. You have a 50-50 shot this week or next. If you had any doubts at all, play it this week. And it was the right move. I think whether she should have gone with Carolyn or taken out Jamie, I mean, she should have taken out Carolyn. It just makes more sense for her. The problem is, and this is another thing Mike and I kind of discussed last week, is like each of these individual players that are not in that Tika 3, like Heidi, Jamie, and Lauren, the right thing for each of them in the short term is to work with that Tika 3, right? But it's also dooming their game to do so. Like, and they don't have enough trust in each other to do the right thing for that group and team up against Tika. So, like, yeah, I guess in a sense, this was the right move, but only because, like I said, all of the other factors probably limited her ability to group up with those others and take out Carolyn.
Yeah, on paper, the right move is to take out like a Carolyn or a Carson, both of whom are bigger threats to Heidi winning than is Jamie. I mean, everybody in the game is more of a threat to anybody other than Jamie. Like, Jamie was the least likely person to win. So that, in that sense, you know, if you're like, hey, what's the bigger play? You voted out somebody who wasn't going to win to keep somebody who is going to win. Again, they can't see the same way I feel about it, but somebody who now people are talking about with winner's equity, to use, I don't know, probably somebody else's term. But it's not a paper. Lauren and Jamie have been voting for Heidi for weeks now, or at least days now. So it'd be really hard for Heidi to go turn around and be like, yes, okay, let's do this. And moreover, let's go to rocks. Cause like it goes down to the jam. And I think she even says it. If, you know, Jam will do it, then yeah. Or maybe it was Lauren who was talking about Jam. That I don't actually quite remember. At this point, I'm just worrying, like, it's not Carolyn, right? Of course it's not Carolyn. Stop making me think it's Carolyn. Show, you're so funny. It's not Carolyn, right? But yeah, it's like, she can't go with just 3-on-3. Now, there's one way Heidi can go to 3-on-3. If she really wants to make the move, if she really thinks that this is the time where she both needs to survive and eliminate a threat, then you team up with Lauren and Jamie to go to rocks, but you play your idol, so you're not going to rocks. That I can understand, but again, I understand not teaming up with the people who've been voting against. Like, how can you believe anything they say?
Right.
I don't even know if Lauren and Jamie really worked that hard to get Heidi to go with them. Like, they were trying to work with Carson and Jam to go against Carolyn. So, yeah, again, it would be better for Heidi if Carolyn left. The one argument of getting rid of Jamie ahead is, like, now the person that you think everybody would want to bring to the end is no longer an option. So that part actually works.
Exactly. And that's the reason to take out Jamie. If you are worried that she's going to take a GOAT spot in the final 3, yeah, get rid of her so that someone can't take that GOAT to the final 3.
But ultimately, like, if Lauren doesn't win immunity, nobody's voting for Jamie, right? Like, the target would have been Lauren, right? Correct. Yes. So again, I don't think that's what people were doing. I don't think they were doing Sandra getting rid of the other person that some people would want to take around. I think that was Krista. But like, that has value. But yeah, Carolyn would have been a higher value target, but I just don't know that that was a move that Heidi could have collaborated on. As far as her playing her idol, yeah, it's fine. She's gotten votes in 2 straight weeks, you know. Stick around and try. Like, again, I get the argument of trying don't play to not lose. I get that because it's my argument more frequently than not. But you also have to survive, right? So if you feel like you're in legitimate danger, and I think Heidi has reasons for it to feel legitimate. This isn't just panicking. She has seen her name written down by people who are still in the game. Just survive then. Right. Worry about next week. Again, maybe next week now there's Carolyn still in there, Carson's still in there. She came in second in this challenge. Like, as it doesn't feel as aggressive enough to like, all you're trying to do is stay at the 5. Again, 5 is pretty bad. That's a big deal. After this, there's only one more chance to vote somebody out. Exactly. So survive this week, worry about next week. And then, after that, we already have evidence that she's really good at starting fires. So, you don't want to be Chris Noble holding on to your idol that can only play 2 more times.
Oh, what a great
and not
reference.
Surviving that vote. So, yeah, I know. I can't criticize somebody for playing an idol at Final 6. Oh, he should have held it for Final 5.
But that's what I'm saying is you had a 50-50 shot. Like, you only have 2 chances left to use it. And like you said, there's been votes. Just play it. I mean, did it cancel any votes? No. But who gives a shit? Like, it was worth the shot.
Who would have felt most secure in this tribal council? Who should have felt most secure that they wouldn't have played an idol? Maybe Jam. I think that, doesn't feel like anybody's saying his name because he has the 2 allies that he's thinking about turning on. They're not turning on him. The other people are trying to use him to turn. So he's in a good spot. Whereas if he had an idol, it would make sense not to play it. I bet going into this episode, you would have said Jamie would be the other person. If she still had that idol, if it didn't walk away with Kane, I could see a scenario where she wouldn't have played it. That would have been a mistake, obviously. So yeah, no, I can't fault it. We should talk about Jamie's idol one more time because she did it one more time.
Oh, damn! She really did. Like she's probably thinking like, damn, if only Kane hadn't walked out with that idol, I could have saved myself there. And, now she's watching the episodes just like the rest of us and it's like, oh, shit. Yeah, well, actually, I was fucked either way. So.
I found the idol. It was on my bucket list. We were talking about, contributions to the season. Like, again, Jamie was the least likely to win. If I was to rank everybody in this episode, I might have ranked her last in terms of characters that I enjoy. I don't know. Maybe Heidi. She brought a fantastic element to this season. And again, a lot of it was at her expense. I understand. I don't care. It was so funny. And her own kind of cheerful exuberance throughout the whole thing helped it be funny. Even though, again, it's not like she's playing into the joke. She doesn't know a joke is being played. But, it's just how, excited and, her huge smile about this thing that is completely fake. It was amazing. Gold star. So that's kind of I'm saying why this season's been great. It's mostly because of starring vehicle. But the supporting players are doing their job.
There was a point where she thought she was running the game and she was the most important player in the game and everyone should come to her because she's the power player and she has all the information. Remember? She thought she had 2 idols. This was all going to her head. She's just running shit. And it was great because she absolutely was not.
The irrational confidence of a Tyler hero.
And, oh man. All these references just hit me right in the sweet spot. Also,
Phrasing.
Yeah. Also, it was just very enjoyable to watch because, like you said, she delivers it with this glee, right? She's so convinced. And it's just, we all know, nah, you don't have it. And, I mean, she does seem to have made at least one ally. I mean, she and Lauren seem to have been fairly tight, judging by the past few votes. They've stuck together pretty well. But it was never there for her.
And I think it's also the I can't think of the word right now, but the contrast between episode 1 Jamie, who is just this panicked mess, which, again, to be fair to her, sounds like that, being worried about being voted out actually wasn't that irrational. It was a discussion that had happened in her camp. The target shifted. To then suddenly, I'm the best, I'm doing so amazing, I'm running this. That also just, that contrast really helped bring the humor as well. It's so much better. The fake idol made her better, and not just in the ways that it made us laugh frequently. Mostly that. But not just that, because having it made her different, made her play more confidently, made her, not, just try to run around and hide or be, afraid. It's like Dumbo with the feather, it's just, it wasn't why he was flying, but he was a much better circus performer when he had it.
You're just killing it with these references tonight. Yeah, I mean,
I know. Jeff Probst would be amazed right now. Just give me an analogy. He might not know the basketball ones, but that's fine.
You don't feel like Probst is watching NBA?
I think he does, but he just roots for the game.
Oh.
Yeah, he's like Rob Lowe with just the hat of the league. There we go. That was
the NBA logo.
Yeah.
So great. I mean, he's had Uncle Cliffy on the show. So
it's true.
Maybe he's got Blazers season tickets by now or something. Oh yeah, it's Scott Pollard too. Let's not forget that one. What a great decision. Oh yeah. Pour one out. All right. Man, we are getting sidetracked. Yeah, I guess in theory, we should talk about Lauren and Jamie. Is there anything that you feel like they could have done to change the outcome here?
No. And I think partly because the person they really needed to do something differently with was Heidi, and they'd already burned that bridge. Not even poorly, like, understandably. But yeah, I think you just had to hope that, like, Jam Jam and Carson saw, the logic in it. And actually, no, you know what? Here's one thing that would have helped. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe don't approach Carolyn about voting Carson off like the day after she just saved him with an idol.
Right. You don't think that was a good read?
But she's so amazing. She is controlling this game.
You don't think they quite had the read of the room there? Hadn't adequately measured the temperature?
The problem was that Jamie didn't have her magic feather at that moment, so it just wasn't coming together. Again, like, Danny votes out Franny. But for one, it wasn't right away, and for two, it was his idea. Like, people were coming to him right after, like, oh, wow, great play on Franny. So, want to vote out Franny? That's essentially what Jamie was doing, so, no stars on that one.
Yeah, the only thing
And as far as Lauren, she did everything she needed to do to stay in the game.
Exactly. She won immunity.
Made sure that she held those balls both loose and firm.
Well done. Probst would be so proud of you tonight.
I think I was largely taking his phrasing there.
Yeah, the only thing they could have possibly done is build a time machine at this point. Like, what could they do? As you said, that there really just wasn't an in with Heidi. Like, what are you going to say? I know we keep voting for you, but this time, nah, it wasn't going to happen. And really, I think, I want to say this is not just about, like, Lauren and Jamie. I think this is applicable to many of the players that have been voted out in the past few weeks. I think there's just been this unwillingness to believe that the Tika 3 are as tight as they are. And I think part of that is just that Survivor players in general are just really self-centered. And so they assume that since they weren't that tight with their own tribe, other people wouldn't be either. And honestly, not a terrible assumption in most seasons, but this is a case where that group actually was tight and they were voting together, and just everyone assumed, it's not a big deal, which I think was partly fueled by the fact that Carolyn is weird and Jam Jam's funny. And so it just makes it seem less threatening. And they're like, no, it's fine. I'm sure they'd turn on each other. We all would too, right? It's just, I know I would, so I'm sure they would. And yeah, I think in this episode, like, Lauren and Jamie were convinced, oh, sure, yeah, they'll absolutely turn on Carolyn. Nah, of course they wouldn't. Like, they haven't so far. They're not going to now.
But a lot of the credit belongs to Tika themselves. They have done a good job in throwing people off the scent. I think early on it was just, nobody was worried about them, and that's how they were able to build strength, right? Soka was worried about Ratu and vice versa, right? But I think in this case, like, again, the idea to get rid of Carolyn came from Jam Jam. Not from them. They were trying to get rid of Carson, right? So I think Tika has done a good job in portraying of a certain messiness, right? They get back from tribal council after voting Franny out, and, like, they feel bad for Carson and Jam Jam, because Carolyn's just, like, laying into them. So I think those three have done a good job, in part through their own, like, the combination of personalities. Carolyn does not stay quiet, right? There was part of me who so wanted Carolyn to be, this would have been dumb, but, like, to be the caller in the ball, because she's supposed to, be directing the people in blindfolds. And imagine just her, like, rolling around there, just
screaming every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing. I wish they'd had to, like, draw rocks or something to determine that, rather than, going with your best option. I mean, you didn't win anyway, huh? So Carolyn's weird. Jam Jam is delightfully self-centered. Just so much. Everything is about Jam Jam. He is used to being the center of attention. In some ways, what was even happening here when he's thinking about getting into Carolyn? It's dawning on him that maybe he isn't, for the first time in his life. It certainly might be dawning on him while watching the presentation of this TV show. So it's like, I think just the dynamic personalities of them also contribute to everybody being like, yeah, I mean, they're together, but we look at there's clearly splits, there's fractions. We can pounce on those. but you can't so far. You haven't been able to. If you are at all, it'll be for a maximum of 1 vote at this point.
Yeah. Also, we should just quickly touch on one thing, which I enjoyed. They go to the final tonight's tribal council, this week's tribal council, and they show that they brought paintbrushes, they brought hammers, they brought all sorts of weird shit. And finally, Probst's like, let's call this out. What's with this shit? And they're like, you're probably going to move us to a different beach. Fuck yes. Did you enjoy this?
Yeah, no, it was great. For one, hey, clever. I wonder who came up with it. 2, yeah, it hangs a lantern on the fact that, like, you're not surprised anybody. Well, one take I have, though, because a lot of the reaction online, and maybe I should have let you make this take before I talk. Should I do that? And then, like, pounce?
Sure, because what you're going to, like, I haven't been online to see these takes, so I don't know.
So what's your take?
My take is great. Like, I like that they fucked him on that because it's a stupid twist to make them start over with nothing at Final 5. Like, I don't give a shit about them suffering and struggling against the elements. And, like, that's not why I'm watching the show. And I don't think it's added any televised entertainment value when they've done it in the past few seasons. Like, is it so exciting to see them, like, struggling with a new shelter, which they generally don't really do either? Right. Like, who gives a shit? What is even the purpose of having them move to a different beach? Like, we don't gain anything from them watching them suffer, because generally we don't even watch them suffer. They rarely ever mention it again.
Yeah. In case that wasn't a rhetorical question, what is the purpose? I am convinced it's entirely practical. It started because they start filming the very next season, like the day after these people ship out. I think the new cast and the old cast pass each other in the airport. So I think they have to ship people to another, like, part of the beach so they can get those parts of the beach ready for the next people. Yeah. I think, like, and that's why it started, right, in 41, and it's just back to 42. And if you're doing it for 41, if you're doing it for 43, then you might as well do it for the other ones too. It's like, I don't know, but I'm pretty confident that's where the idea came from. It's like, oh God, we got to turn this around really quickly. Well, what if we move them to the beach? And now they think it's a feature of the game. I'm with you. It doesn't add anything. And I also found it funny that, like, people are on to your stuff here. The reaction that I found kind of funny is people were like, see, this is why you don't keep doing the same twists over and over again. And they think that this is a good gotcha. Like, you're dumb, show. But what they don't recognize is the counter to that is not don't do the dumb twists. It's change them up all the time. Do more twists is what you're asking for. If you're criticizing the show for their twists becoming too predictable, what you're asking for is more new twists.
Yes.
That's not what you want. That's not what you want. So it's not be like, hey, because I saw that reaction multiple times online. It's like, well, see, this is why you don't do the same twist over and over again. Well, maybe it's not a twist anymore. Maybe it's just a feature in the game. Does that make you happy? Probably not. Because, again, I don't think it adds any value. I think they try to spruce it up by, like, every time you're there, there's some kind of treasure hunt. That is also not adding value.
Nope.
But I genuinely do believe it's a practical matter, at least in the odd number seasons. Is that we got to clean these beaches up, so we'll stick you to one where we're not going to put any people for the next for the first week or so. And yeah, the show just keeps on rolling. Another thing that I think we need to discuss before we kind of get to the end of this, if it wasn't Carolyn talking to Jeff Probst about how she can be both emotional and a good player, it's possible the other great Carolyn moment of this episode, and thus maybe of the season, is when she asks Jam Jam to burp into her mouth.
God, that was amazing. And even then, there was still one more highlight from Carolyn this episode. First of all, that one was the burp in the mouth thing was great because she then has, I think it was a confessional where she immediately expresses regret for having done that.
I think if Jam Jam be like, that was pretty weird, but I'm Jam Jam, I'll do it. And then Herb's like, oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, it's just like, I have regrets. Like, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
And I love that she goes for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else do you have?
So the other thing is that, like, her in the challenge, she's like,
yes,
20 feet. Like, how do you, the whole concept of this challenge is that you're holding onto this ball and you're pushing your teammate. Like, how do you even get that far away from it? Like, what?
Are you not hearing anything? Again, I've never worn those masks. Maybe, it also muffles some audio parts. But it's like, oh, I don't know where you are at all. It's like, well, keep at least moving towards the distance of noises. And then at some point, yes, I get that you'll require more precise directions, but move towards the sound.
Oh, man. It's just, like, again, you both started with hands on it. You're pushing it. Like, at a certain point, unless you just shoved it, it's probably going to be in one of your two hands at just about all times, right? Like, it's not going that far.
I suspect she got caught on something, like one of the barriers, or I know, like, them and the orange side were, like, jostling for position. So I can see where you get detached. But to fall that far behind...
Also, it regardless of if there is a reasonable explanation for it or not, how perfect is it? Right?
It's amazing. I love it.
It's just, what a Carolyn moment.
I mean, you know this. I'll peek behind the curtain. There was so many Carolyn moments that I had tested out for, like, the image for this week's episode. That was one of them that she can't find it. The what the fuck face. There was a couple others I didn't even test out. Just such an embarrassment of riches. Now everybody listening to this probably knows that, or I guess not everybody. You'd have to go through our website. I actually went with a different moment altogether, but it's just that it's indicative. It's just like, just highlights upon highlights upon highlights. Give her the ball. She's gonna score.
It was so good. I truly enjoyed it. And yeah, you're right. The burp thing, also amazing. Just an embarrassment of riches. Like, Carolyn, just so great on my television, and I cannot wait for next week. We should probably talk about next week, by the way, because next week is, of course, the finale. So what are you expecting from this season's finale?
All right, so I got a mapped out path. There's a thought exercise because, of course, we're never right about these things. Often we get in our own way to avoid being right about these things because we don't want to be. But look, there's no secret where the end game is, so I don't need to, pretend otherwise. I think Jam Jam was going to go out at 5. I think it's going to get back to Carolyn what he was doing. And I think it'll get back from Carson. Because, if like Lauren says it, whatever, that was just Jam Jam lying to her about what was happening, right? But I think Carson might let Carolyn know. And combined with, the faces of Tribal Council, the what the fuck, and all of that. And then she's going to feel burned enough that she'll be able to get Heidi and Lauren. Maybe even Carson. Maybe at this point, he's trying to move the target off him. Maybe Carson's immune. I don't know. But I think Jam Jam's going to go at 5. How, it isn't Carolyn if Carson's immune? I don't know. Things will work out. She's amazing.
Yep.
But that's what I think. And then I'm with the people. I'm fire making pilled on this one. I think Carson's losing the fire making. Apparently, there's been a lot of visual foreshadowing that I haven't noticed in the moment because
I've noticed.
Yeah, I mostly, but what's Carolyn doing in those scenes? So I admit, I'd love to say, oh no, it's there, but there's enough moments of, Carson and fire that I think that would make, I'm not going to argue. I think that's what happens. I think he gets taken out either by Heidi, who we've seen be good at this, or by Carolyn, who apparently practiced fire making till her hands bled.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm almost positive Carson goes home in fire making. I was assuming it was to Heidi. This was the first time I remember a whole lot of talk about Carolyn's fire making abilities. I suppose it's possible. But I know Heidi's have been mentioned more than once this season.
Mm-hmm. And shown to us. And I think even shown again, when they were doing kind of like a Heidi feature. And then I think Carolyn wins going away against Lauren and Heidi, maybe a sweep, maybe everybody, but Jam Jam, maybe Jam Jam becomes very bitter in that moment. It feels like that's something he could do. I also feel like he could be bitter, but then also be like, but that's my friend, it could go either way with him. And either way is delightful. Like when he's, funny and sweet, Jam Jam, he's funny. when he is, completely self-involved Jam Jam, I also still love him. So either way.
Petty and bitter Jam Jam would also be fine.
Yeah, either one. All fine. So yeah, that's what I'm predicting. Anything different for you, or
Yeah,
I don't know if you went that macro.
I mean, the difference for me is that I think Jam Jam probably does make Final 3 with Carolyn, and I think she still wins. I think Carolyn probably would be willing to take Carson to Final 3. I don't know that she's going to be the one that's going to get to make that choice. Either she ends up going in fire to fire making against him, or like she just it wasn't her decision anyway. Because I don't feel like Carolyn winning immunity is super likely. Anything's possible, of course, but I do think like they would probably try to get the three of them to the end, and there's going to be Carson losing fire making is going to be the thing that stops that from happening.
Yeah, and if we're convinced that Carson is losing fire making, how is Carolyn not in fire making if she doesn't win? Yeah. Like, who's taking Carolyn to the end?
Oh, yeah, I guess in theory she'd have to win it then.
Yeah. Because if she's immune, the way you're thinking, which makes some sense to me, she'd be bringing Carson to the end.
Well,
unless
she picks Jam Jam.
Carson. Yeah, there you go. If she picks Jam Jam, they stay together. Yeah.
So she picks Jam Jam because, of the two of them, Carson or Jam Jam, it's like, oh, well,
And I could key back to what she was saying this week about, she knows she might have to let him go sometime.
Or also, it could just be that, like, okay, well, Jam Jam, you're completely useless. You can't make fire. Carson, maybe you. And then he just loses.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder if Jam Jam's good at fire, because like he has shown some ability in the other outdoor stuff. Speaking like it reminds him of Puerto Rico or whatever. No. So it really could be Carolyn taking Carson out, and whatever. Another feather in our girl's cap.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think we're that impressed by fire making, but nope. Sometimes it is for the people watching, they have to watch it anyway. So, and it would result in like her, again, what it would be is not necessarily, oh my God, you made fire, you're impressive, but just the final little message, or second to final, because she'll get to speak to them. This woman is not a joke, and you were all wrong to treat her that way.
Yeah, I mean...
Also, imagine Carolyn doing fire. What octaves would she hit?
Oh, yeah. It'd be so good.
I think I'm in. I'm okay for this.
You're going to throw out some expletives in there. It's going to be great. I'm on board.
Yeah, okay. But the important thing is, Carolyn's going to win, and we can celebrate like the Ewoks had just taken down the Death Star. See, the Ewoks didn't do that. Damn, I screwed up my analogy. I was on such an analogy hot streak.
They took down.
I was out here shooting like Max
the
Struess.
Walker thing, right? What's it called? The ATs.
AT, yeah, and like the Empire in general on the moon. But yeah, it was the Star Wars people, with the planes.
Yeah,
sure. There we go. I think it was Han in the first movie, but yeah,
I'm looking forward to people correcting us on Star Wars references in the comments.
That's right. Nobody's going to come after us for all the various Miami Heat. But
no, they wouldn't. Also, good luck to my idiot, beloved, would-be adopted son, Tyler Harrow, with his injury recovery. Miss you, boo. Want you back for these playoffs.
That's right. I said that Jamie had the irrational confidence of Tyler Hero, but I suppose in many other ways, like Matthew was the Tyler Hero of this season.
At least in terms of shared injuries, yes.
Yes. I don't really have anything for this, but let's just complete the loop. Heidi is Kevin Love. There we go. Anything else?
I just see the outlet passes. Yeah, she's got the vibe. All right.
A crafty vet, man. That maybe was like Left 4 Dead, and then still proves useful. I could just do this for days.
Sure. No, anything else, just find our website at purplerockpodcast.com. The show's on Twitter at purplerockpod. Andy is at purplerockandy, and I was going to do Tyler Harrow's at, I don't even know it. Fuck it.
It's probably embarrassing.
I mean, it's Tyler Harrow. I'm positive it's embarrassing. It's probably like the real one, like 69 or some shit.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That beautiful idiot.
He's so great. All right. Anything else, Andy?
Hit the theme music.
This is the copyright-free outro to the Purple Rock Survivor podcast.